In today's video, we're going to be giving you a real estate market update for the Portland metro area. You are not going to want to miss it, and we're getting after it right now. All right, folks, if this is your first time to the channel, here is what you need to do. You need to click the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, do a somersault, cartwheel, whatever, and then you will be the first to know about everything happening in our market up here. I'm Ann Stewart. This is Erica Hagfors. We are your go-to gals when you are thinking about buying a home in the Portland metro area. Whether you live here, move here, we want to hear from you. All of our contact information is listed below. You can call, text, email, fill out a form on our website. We get back to you. We're live, real people, so you will hear from us. Yeah, we pick up the phone. One of you called us the other day, and they're like, is this Ann? Okay, so we'd love to hear from you, so reach out. Okay, so we thought we would just do a casual conversation real estate market update because we're in the trenches every day.
This is boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Experiencing.
What are we hearing, seeing? What are we experiencing in the market? We're working with a lot of you buyers out there, so we can tell you what we're seeing on the day-to-day, and I think we have a pretty good data sample. We've gotten, I mean, it's only early February and we've helped 12 people buy a home here in the Portland metro area. And so what are we seeing out there, Erica? And let's reverse a little bit because the end of 2024 was very, very different than the beginning of 2025, which is not uncommon. Like we see all the time a shift. Like we always warn people, especially you buyers out there who get to the end of the year and you're like, oh, I'm going to wait till spring or after the first year to buy. And it changes on you really fast. So
real dramatic. So at the end of 2024, we saw a pretty slow market. There was a lot of inventory sitting on. Buyers could kind of take advantage of that.
And they did.
They did. And they had a lot of leeway. They could ask for a lot of concessions, closing costs, and the sellers were signing up for that left, right, and center. And as we've headed into 2025, it's changing, and we're seeing it kind of right now.
Yeah.
I just had an interesting situation with a buyer. We wrote on a property. Now we knew we had to get over there real quick because it was supposedly 4 days on market. This was actually a relist. So the home had been listed at the end of last year in the mid fives, I think right about 545-ish or so, 550, and it had come back on the market at 529 in a desirable area. Now it was moderately updated. It looked very nice, but the bathrooms could still use some updating. And so 529, my buyer was super excited. She was cash. And we knew that there was an offer on the table. So we write an offer. We beat that offer initially. Well, that buyer comes back, that other offer, and they wrote way over 550. And so we came back. We did not get this property under contract. My buyer tapped out at about 550. She said, no, that's fine. And they went with the other offer. And that is what we are going to start seeing. We're going to start seeing these properties that, maybe didn't make it at the end of last year. Maybe they're doing something dramatic with their pricing and they're getting multiple offers. I mean, they ended up better than where they were at the end of last year when they, took themselves off the market.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to start seeing. We've got so many buyers out there that are waiting for good inventory. And when that inventory starts popping on, it's going to be going quick. So, for all of the buyers that we've spoken to up until this point, it was like, okay, well, you can kind of take your time. You can ask for a lot. This is not going to be the market that we're in this spring.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I think, for anything that's not super like perfect turnkey kind of, ready to go modern type homes, or if it's not priced appropriately, then those will sit.
Yeah.
If they are priced appropriately for what they are, they're going to go real quick.
Now, keep in mind, we just came out of a year, you guys, where 6 interest rate reductions were promised, and we maybe got 2 or 3. And we had an election, which cyclically and historically, every election, year, we usually see people slow down their buying habits because they're waiting and holding their breath to see who wins. And there's usually a little hesitation even after who wins to see what's going to happen in the markets. And everyone's brushed that off now. We literally got a gajillion reach outs in December of 2024 and into the beginning of 2025. And I would say we've had an early start to a spring. Yeah. Usually this activity kicks into high gear in spring, and I think it's starting a little bit premature.
Well, I think what's also happening is, we've talked about this previously, is that we're getting some climate refugees, if you want to coin that term. So we have people coming up from California, which we've always had. However, they're now coming up even more so.
Yeah.
We're also getting a lot of people from Florida, from Texas, from, the East Coast.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And a lot of them are just saying that they're not ready to deal with the weather situations that they have out there anymore, or the weather events that they have. And so, we are not known for having weather events. We're known for being pretty, even keel, rainy and very moderate, temps all the way around. So I think that we're going to find our increase coming back. I mean, there is something really special about this area, and having grown up here my entire life between Washington and Oregon, you realize real quickly why people, it's silly to leave. I mean, we have everything at our fingertips.
And you're not worried about that season. When these people are coming from Florida and they just went through a horrific hurricane season where literally they had to worry if their house was going to still be there, they had to evacuate, and then they had to deal with insurance.
That's, I think, the biggest ticket that we're finding. And I think that's why the rush is on between both Florida and California coming up here. That's right. The insurance factor.
Yep.
I mean, we talked to this gal who, ended up moving out here, and her initial insurance quote was $14,000 on a moderate, newer 1,500 square foot home.
Yeah, that's insane.
Even though she was able to get it drastically reduced, it was still like $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah.
And that's outrageous.
Yeah.
But you have to factor that insurance companies have to be able to make money out there.
Yeah.
And obviously we know the situation with California and the fires and, just them pulling out. And so I think people are realizing that there's got to be a better option. So it seems like Oregon is the
option. Well, and the thing about Oregon is that a lot of people are okay to tolerate something like rain. It's not, I mean, we're not having natural disasters. Yeah. And we've had a lot of reach outs from people that are saying, okay, I will maybe spend a couple of months in Arizona or, somewhere warmer and drier when the weather gets really hard here. But you cannot beat our summers. Like, we have the most...
They're amazing.
They're amazing. Now, they've gotten a little hotter over the years, but still, we're pretty...
They're amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've seen a lot of climate refugees. And, we always get a group of people up from California because people realize there's just all kinds of reasons people leave California at different times, but they get a lot more bang for their buck up here. And now that the fires have we had a few Zoom calls with Californians where they've just had it. They don't want to worry about the next fire year, the seasonality. And so I think a lot of people are just really taking into consideration, like, where do they want to live where they don't feel like they're going to be in jeopardy from that. But besides that, what else are we seeing in the marketplace out there with...
we're seeing some pretty competitive things. So I have buyers who, are really weighing the options between resale and new construction right now. We have a lot of new construction in higher population or more popular areas like Beaverton, Northwest Portland, even the Tigard area has a lot of new construction, Sherwood. Those are all very popular areas. And I think people are really weighing what are they getting and what, with both option. And then the hard part right now is that, when you go with some of these larger builders, they can offer lending incentives. So while we all love our, approved lenders that we work with on a daily basis for these resales, I have to say that sometimes it is in the interest of the client to maybe work with that builder lender because they can get wild incentives on these properties. And that really does make it a little bit more affordable sometimes. So if they're not tied to having a massive yard, or maybe they're a first-time home buyer and they don't want to do sweat equity route, and they're like, I just want a nice, comfortable home that I can grow and be in for 5 years without worrying that my roof's going to leak or, I'm going to have to replace my HVAC system. New construction becomes an option. And, everybody's lifestyle is different. So we have so many different options when it comes to these type of homes. I mean, we're seeing a lot of duplex-style townhomes come into play. We're seeing, obviously traditional townhome, what they call alley load or rear loading homes where you get a side yard versus a backyard, and then your traditional resale, and they can build everywhere. So, I have to say, unfortunately, I think right now, to some degree in certain areas, the new construction is really kind of a bargain because you're getting all of those latest, greatest features, and yet you're not having to, they're pretty competitive in price.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say this is the first time in a long time that we've started to see the shift in people moving towards new construction more than resale.
Yep.
Partly because they are providing incentives that is really tough for a resale house to beat. Like when you're going to new construction sites and they're offering you a 4.99% interest rate and you're getting a 7% interest rate in the open market, it makes a wild difference. You get a much better house for the money with new construction.
Or you're getting $20,000 towards closing cost prepaids and upgrades. I mean, that's
That's a free $20,000.
Right. And some of the we don't see a ton of resale coming on market that is in mint condition to compete with the new construction. So more and more we're seeing our clients lean towards the new construction for those reasons. Now, if you're just not into new construction,
Totally good. Totally okay.
we're okay with that. In fact, let's talk about what that looks like, because there's a lot of people, we have clients right now that are like, no, I do not want new construction. No way, no how. But you're going to be waiting and having a patience game, because we're finding more and more that inventory is just either you're passing it up because it's not in the right condition or location or price range, or the good stuff hits the market
And it goes.
and it just flies off the shelf.
Yeah. So we're at our highest inventory of, like the last, I don't know,
10 years.
Yes.
And
I've been in real estate.
And as a buyer, you don't see that happening, because
No.
you're like, where's the inventory? It's like, what's happening is.
Yeah. Well, and so I was just showing property this last weekend, and that's exactly what we ended up seeing is we saw this dichotomy between like what you were getting at certain price points in the resale market, and for a little bit more or the same value, like what you were getting in new construction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, new construction won every single time. And I don't know if that's just the balance of sellers trying to get as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Because, the unfortunate thing is buyers are critical right now. I mean, you really have to bring something special to the table. It either has to be super, super well maintained and really well, put together, or it has to be priced so attractively.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're finding in resale. Right. Unfortunately, I mean, I appreciate this. Sellers want to get as much as they can, but they're not. In the houses that are sitting are houses that are overpriced.
Yep. That's right.
That's just, unfortunately, for what they are. They may be able to get that price if they were perfect inside.
Yep.
But buyers really want perfection right now, is what I'm finding.
Yeah. Now, because the inventory levels have shown really high, a lot of buyers are trying to say, hey, look, it's a buyer's market. But this is a deceiving number, you guys, because that stat that we're seeing with the highest level of inventory we've seen is coming as a result of last month, which is coming out of the fall winter months, right? So all that inventory that didn't sell off is adding to that. I guarantee you, when the inventory levels show up for the month of March, which we won't have for, a bit,
April,
it's going to show the inventory going down, because we've seen the inventory that's been either, like Erica said, they take it off the market at the end of the year if they don't sell, and then they relist it after the first of the year, and then boom, it gets absorbed into the market. When we say absorbed, that means a buyer comes and writes an offer on it. And ironically, we've been in multiple offer situations recently where a house has literally been on the market for 6 to 9 months, and all of a sudden, when our buyer wants to write an offer, so does somebody else.
Yeah.
And now we're in a multiple offer competition. In fact, we were in one the other day where this house had been on since last May, and we wrote an offer and so did somebody else, and bam, that person went $100,000 over list. Not sure if they had to go that high, but that's what the listing agent shared. Okay. So what's going on with that? That house should have been a smoking deal, but all of a sudden, all these buyers are now starting to climb out and going, I need to buy. And so,
well, and to be honest, we're actually even seeing that kind of with new construction, where like new construction was at a point where you were starting to see some price reductions.
Yep.
And now, I mean, I've been in new construction offices, several weekends in a row, and it's to the point where, I'll go take a buyer to a site, and if you don't make a decision while you're there,
yep,
there's a good chance that property could go away.
Yeah.
And the other thing to consider is that, like, part of the reason we always hate saying this to buyers, but if there's something new construction that you like, you got to figure out a way to tie that property up so that you can at least do a little bit of further investigating into if it's the one, because there may be another party that walks in right after you and they're ready to throw down some reservation money, or they're looking for your property, and then you may not get that floor plan for another couple months. I mean, I was just at a builder, and my buyer took the last model or the last floor plan of a certain floor plan, and they're not going to have any more until 2026.
Wow.
2026.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a whole year. And so, you just have to understand what that's going to look like. And it's hard because it's such a huge purchase, but you really have to know when you start going to these sites, if you see something that you like, you got to be ready to make some decisions.
Yeah.
And know that you're going to be putting down some money. Now, I will say with new construction, you also, generally you're going to be putting down a bigger earnest money, but if that's the way that you want to go, just things to think about.
Yeah. And as we bring up all these topics, we want you to invite you to reach out to us. Mm-hmm. Drop your comments below as well if you have thoughts on it. But we do buyer consultations all the time. We hop on a Zoom call or a phone call to make sure you understand what is the market doing specifically in the area and in the price points that you guys are trying to maintain your comfort level in. And we want to help you make sure you're moving in a, the right direction. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're always doing these videos to update you guys on what we're seeing in the market, what it's like to live in the Portland metro area. If you have comments or suggestions on topics even that you want to
drop them below.
yeah, let us know, because we love hearing that from you guys when you say, hey, do a video on this. So we're here for you guys. We live here. We're here for you. Reach out to us, and we'll see you guys on the next video.